journey.
Sure has, buddy.
We're about 200 episodes deep, my man.
Well, we're not about 200 episodes. The thing is, we are 200 episodes deep.
You know, now that you mention it, we are 200, and it seems like just yesterday we were two kids in Santa Monica in your basement with a Zoom mic and
Zoom, I remember that.
And hearts full of joy, and we're just trying to make each other laugh, really.
Two guys just hanging out with their tank tops on, young, dumb, and full of cum. Remember that?
Like it was yesterday. It's crazy to look back where we came from, you know?
Yeah. I remember reaching down and saying to myself, Brendan, my dick always seems a little bit hard sometimes. You know what I mean? In other words, I got all these hormones pumping through my body, and I don't know what to do with all this energy. And you said, Bri, put it into the podcast.
I sure did.
And you
Something
looked down
like
and
that.
You grabbed a fistful of dick yourself. You said, look at this guy.
Ah, man.
I'm being...
I don't remember this.
Yeah.
What I remember is it went something like this. You approached me and said, hey, man, I'm not doing well. I don't know who to turn to. Is there any way you could kind of take me under your wing and show me the ropes of entertainment?
I don't remember.
And I said, sure, Brian.
No, I don't remember that. I remember.
Sure. It was kind of like a Make-A-Wish thing, I think.
No, I remember you coming to me, and I was sitting there in my expensive house, and surrounded by friends. And I remember you were in the rain, and you came in wet, looking like a broken bird. You had snot in your nose, and
wow,
your pants were stained. I think you'd peed yourself a little bit. And you walked in, your knees were knocking, your hands were out in front of you like you were asking for something. And I remember you fell to your knees. You said, I got nothing to offer, but you're my hero.
Oh, wow.
And I want you to help me.
Dang.
And I don't have much to offer, but I'll punch somebody in the face for you, or you can use my mouth as your own recreation center. And I didn't know what that meant.
Man, I don't remember like that.
I do.
See, oh, you know, it's coming back to me now that you mention it.
Yeah.
I remember I was at a restaurant with, man, I got a great group of friends.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting around, and I went to the bathroom, and you kind of barged in on me. And you went, hey, man, I know you don't know me, but I've made a lot of mistakes in my life.
Yeah.
Is there any way you'd have the heart to do a podcast with me? And I don't know, man, maybe do everything for me. And I thought to myself,
I don't remember that.
God damn. Evan, can we play that track back? And I remember thinking to myself, God damn, look at this 47-year-old just broke. He's broken.
No. I remember you said.
And I remember thinking to myself, with my help, he might be all right. And then you got on your knees. I went, what are you doing? You went.
This is the song that Brendan sang. And
it was just a special day. It's 200.
It's our 200th episode, Brian, my man.
Listen how bad this song is.
I don't get punched in the face anymore, yeah.
Terrible song.
It's the 200th episode of Fighting the Kid. I can't thank you enough for all that you did. Please don't die, cause you're old as fuck. Please don't die, cause you're old as fuck.
Isn't that terrible?
I'd be real sad for about an hour or two, and then the show would go on without you. It's the 200th episode, you old fuck. 200th
He's running out of
episode, I hope you're
lyrics.
ready.
Good lyric. Good lyric.
You're crying, you're old as fuck.
Kind of repeating.
Yeah.
Well, that was it.
That was a song for you, man.
Very good, buddy.
Yeah.
I need
more coffee.
More coffee. I want to rattle out of here.
What do you got, Ev?
All right.
I'm fine.
Before you
Jump
jump in
into
these, are there any fights this weekend, Ev?
There are not.
Whoa.
Okay. I watched Bellator late last night.
I didn't watch
About
it.
midnight I watched it, recorded them. Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. A killer.
Jacked. Jacked. Other than that, whatever. Kendall Grove lost against Shamalenko.
How did Bobby do?
Merc, the dude, looked great. I hope they give him he's asking, dude, let me step up in competition because he's 5-0 in Bellator, and he's like, let me fight somebody. I think it's time. He looks good too, though, man. What's this, Ab?
First one we got, Shane Carwin tweeted a photo of a Ryzen fight glove and said that he has accepted a fight with Fedor Emelianenko. The only person who has not signed it, obviously, Fedor. So it's not official,
Well, that's a big
but this
deal.
is an offer on the table.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what. I don't know why else you would sign with Ryzen unless they offered you a for sure deal with Fedor. Other than that, who the fuck else are you going to fight? I love Shane like a brother. I don't think it's the best business move. I know his manager has a lot to do with this, but if he gets Fedor, then this move paid off. I don't know the ins and outs of the contract. I don't know how much he's getting paid, so I can't comment on that. But why you wouldn't sign with Bellator and the stuff they're doing is crazy to me. As much as the media and stuff like that. If you think guys go away when they sign with Bellator, sign with Ryzen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Although the last,
unless you fight with Fedor,
yeah,
there's
I would imagine
nothing
that's
for
why
you.
he did it though, right?
We don't know. Hopefully, I would assume. What other heavyweights?
That
do they
would
have?
be a big fight, right? I mean, that's something you would.
That'd be
definitely-
then what?
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know what they.
We don't know that. That's why
don't
if
know.
I could comment way more if I knew the ins and outs of the contract. Because can he fight Fedor? Because remember, Fedor and Bellator were kind of cool. They were going to do like cross promotion stuff like that. So maybe by signing with them, he can jump back to Bellator or something like that. That would be the move. Can he fight Fedor then come to Bellator or something like that? But let's say he knocks out Fedor. Then what do we do? What other heavyweights next?
Well, what they have going on in Ryzen right now is they have the open weight tournament that they're setting up right now. And Vanderlei Silva's already in. Crow Cop is already in. If Carwin and Fedor get added to that open weight tournament, maybe that's that's one of the
pretty
opening
badass.
round bouts.
That's pretty badass.
That's fucking badass as it gets.
But hey, so hold on.
Yeah.
Crow Cop and Wanderlei would have to fight Carwin in open weight.
They could. I mean, yeah, it's an
Woo!
open weight tournament, Pride
God
style.
bless him. Enjoy that, Wanderlei. Oh my God.
Wanderlei's simply too small. He's
It
simply
was
too
so
small. for
fun to
Shane
watch.
John Jones's attorney says that USADA has independently confirmed that the product that Jones used was contaminated.
Ooh, very interesting. Things get
Contaminated,
even
yeah,
more interesting.
with the banned substance that he tested positive for ahead of UFC 200.
I like people that go, no, bro, you're still responsible for what you put in your body regardless. Nah, bitch. Sometimes when you take protein powder or something like that, or John had a sponsor where he thought it was good to go because they're a big company, they work with him, and he's passed tests before, then all of a sudden there's some
Wow.
shady supplements in there,
So does this
and
prove
John
that
tests
he
positive.
wasn't doing steroids?
I get this is all from Jones's attorney. This isn't from USADA. So taking Jones's attorney's word here, he said, quote, "We've been able to establish the source of the prohibited substance. It came from a product that John took that was not labeled with either of these substances. We had it tested. The product was contaminated with both of them. I know USADA also independently had the product tested. Their testing confirms what we found."
But
So he should be
So
good.
he should be
We going
looking-
Sizzler.
well, hold on. So
His hearing is scheduled for October
not to be-
31st.
Not to be, I don't know, but I'm just saying that what this is saying is that there was a product John took that had substances that were banned in it. However, we don't know if that also precludes then that he definitely. So in other words, that's what they found.
So they found the banned substance in his system,
the
and
estrogen
they tested the products that Jones was taking. They found that the products that he was taking were not labeled with this banned substance. There is no indication that it had the banned substance in it. Yet they were able to confirm that product did in fact have those banned substances.
Boom.
So he did completely unknowingly
All right.
ingest these
Well,
substances.
let this man back in.
So his arbitration hearing is on October 31st, looking at a maximum 1 year suspension, or could just be let off with a warning.
That
So
boy's warning. What
we'll
the fuck
see.
you gonna warn him for? This is what? He's gonna be fighting by early
Get
next
him
year.
back in.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Yeah, let's get this back. He's probably. I'm sure he's been training the whole time.
Nonstop. Yeah, of course.
The recent monkey story of Brian
story
had
was
me
good.
dying. Like, I watched it when I got home the other day. It was so funny.
That's hilarious. Brian, did you do it on the podcast? I think so. You told that story on the podcast when you went audition for that
Oh, yeah.
Crest commercial ad.
That's a great one.
That might be the hardest I've ever
You were
laughed.
dying.
That was really
Can't believe you went and did that. You
I
got
made
some
you.
nerve.
I made you laugh harder off the podcast.
Oh,
for
for sure.
You know, It's kind of ironic because we get this question that our 200th happens now. I think maybe the hardest I ever laughed was the French robot story.
Yeah.
That's a funny one.
I don't know why. Something about that just fucking killed me. And you and your college roommates dressed up as big babies in diapers. It was so sort of visual story that it just killed me.
Funny
And anytime Sasso's on here, that gets me.
Sasso killed me.
The time when you were telling this story about the guy punching his up on his eye.
Oh, my college roommate punching himself in the face. There's been some funny ones, man. Well, that was on Rogan here. The time Callen got molested.
Isn't that funny how that's funny?
Oh my God,
And
I
those
forgot
stories
about
just
that.
came to me, and I was like,
Like, well, I guess I'm gonna tell this.
We were like 100 episodes deep. I was like, you didn't know me got molested in the woods. He's like, oh, yeah.
You want to rub it out on my ass? You want to dry out my ass or no? I was like, nah, I'm
no.
all right. Nah, all right. I'm all right. So I was
Yeah, that was hilarious.
You want to rub yourself on my butt? Can't remember what he said. All I know is that when Brendan and I both got an email that said Chael Sonnen is in town, do you guys want him on the podcast? We both responded with capital letter Y-E-S.
I said, you bet your
And
sweet
then-
ass.
Yep, and then large exclamation points.
Hell yeah, I want Chael on the show.
You
He's one of my
Who
favorites.
doesn't want? If you don't want Chael Sonnen on your show, you're probably not an American. You should
Now-
probably leave my country.
Now, last time you were here, we talked a little about fighting, and I was like, hey, man, do you think you're going to fight again? You're like, I don't think so, Brendan. I would like to, but I don't think so. And then 2 weeks later, Chael signs with
No,
Bellator.
hold on though. To be fair, he also said, I have not yet given up on the idea that I'm not going to fight again.
I wanted to want to fight. I wanted to want to do it, but it's a process, going out and walking in the arena and doing all that stuff. That's the fun part, but man, the training's tough. It really is.
It gets tougher and tougher?
It gets tougher and tougher, and you're up every morning, and Oregon, it's raining, you're out in the rain and you're running. I mean, it's just a process. It is what it is, but I think that is part of it where it's like, man, I want to do this, but it's a process.
So what made you want to do it? Because obviously the reason why training's tough is because you're older, right?
Right.
Because when you're young, I'm sure you could train all day and night. Then the older you get, the training, it gets a little tougher. You need more rest days.
Yeah. Well, there's that with the age, but I was also in the testosterone era. And the one thing about testosterone is it is a recovery medication. So you can get through those workouts or go to bed where you can barely move, wake up the next day and just feel great again. Oh. So when that all went away, that mattered. That affects it. I can't do now what I used to do, but largely it's just because of recovery. And in any 10-minute period, I can go hard or 50 or whatever it is, but I can't go do 2 hours with the college kids and stuff like I used to do.
Which is what
every day.
testosterone helps you do, right?
Which is what testosterone lets you do. Yeah. I mean, I could go do a 2-hour college workout, but I couldn't show up the next day at 3 every single day, day in and day out. It's got to change a little bit. And I hear guys talk like that. And, a big one was, I don't train harder, I train smarter. But that is a precursor to I'm going to lose. Every
Correct.
guy that I've seen say that,
right?
that's training smarter instead of harder. Man, the guy that trains harder wins. It happens almost every single time. And I did not want to fall into that trap. But the reality was, without the testosterone or with the age, to your point, it gets a little bit less. And that's a tough battle.
Have you ever drawn somebody where you went, fuck?
Oh, yeah. I had a John Jones fight. I was preparing for that fight. Going, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. But I'm also a logical person. I'm going, man, this is a tall... I just got cleaned up before I had to fight John Jones. It wasn't like I forgot that had just happened.
Right.
So I'm putting on, my public persona, and I'm not only trying to convince people, I'm trying to convince myself. And I thought I had a way to go. I mean, I trained really hard for it. I was doing good in the gym. That's just a different animal right there.
It's just a different animal.
It's just a different guy.
Chael, let me ask you this.
You do not call out a smaller guy. It is a
never.
cowardly thing.
Yeah.
In the world of jiu-jitsu, a black belt does not go after a purple. Now, it could be the other way around. The purple can come after the... You just can't do that.
Okay.
Rory's a stud and can defend himself. So I think that there's a little bit of grace there for me.
He's a special case.
Yeah, but it was a situation where I read that about Rory. I knew that he had signed. I went, man, that division is still forming. I don't know what he's going to do. And then he even said, I'll move up in weight. I'll do these different things. Well, I know I'm breaking a rule here, but I think it might work for all parties.
Yeah, and Roy's also, you keep talking about size B, but he's one of the most skilled guys in
Yes.
the world.
Yes.
And he trains bigger training partners. The fight would make sense. I don't like it for Rory right now. If I'm
What
Scott Coker, I don't do it right now.
What about those rolling leg locks that he was going for
Amazing,
in the
man.
Stephen Thompson? And almost had him.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to get Stephen Thompson in one of those.
Yeah.
You don't know what Rory's going to do. Rory's crazy.
So with Tito, does this fight excite you? Because we all trained together. I think it was you, me, and Tito at Rain. Were you there when Tito was there?
No, I wasn't there. I missed
Okay.
him. I thought he was going to be there. And essentially, it just comes from jealousy. Tito and I were the same weight class in the same conference in college. So we met up and saw each other. He left college and 6 months later was the UFC champion. I wanted to go down that route.
Wow.
I wanted to be an Ultimate Fighter, and I would sit back and watch Tito on TV, and it was out of jealousy.
Did you wrestle? Did you guys go against him in college? Like you guys?
We
went
had
against each
one
other?
match.
How'd that go?
I beat him. And
Bad?
it was his. I beat him pretty bad, and it was his birthday. I caught him right off I threw him in a head arm and pinned him in 40 seconds.
On his birthday?
On his birthday.
God damn, Chael.
Now,
Come on, Chael.
I don't say it to put myself. I will admit that I caught him, but yes, it finished in a pin, and I've never brought it up. I've never told anyone. I've got a video of it. I've never put
You
it
do
out
have
there.
video of it?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
put
need
it
that
out,
video,
though.
sir.
I'll
He put
send
it
it
out.
to
He
you.
put it out. Good for him.
He put it out, and so I thought, okay, well, this is fair game. I never wanted to use that against him. However, he did get his shot, and I remember one of the biggest struggles I had wanting to get in this business was just getting the shot. I'd be sitting on my couch. I was in the practice room with world champions. We had Randy Couture and Dan Henderson and Matt Lindland and Evan Tanner. I knew where I stood in the world.
All right, first current event we got today. We will go with Hollick Gracie. Metamours founder Hollick Gracie signing to fight with Bellator.
He's your coworker.
Yeah, man. I found that signing interesting. One, I didn't know Halleck did MMA, and he's got a background. I want to say he's even 3-0, but I didn't know he was actively doing MMA. I know he's got a grappling strong background. He grappled in his own show. He was beat by Gary Toonen. It surprised me because I didn't know he was interested in doing it.
Yeah, it can't be a good move. He's in a little bit of debt with Metamours, and he's doing all he can to kind of get cash, I think, and this is the next play. Originally, Metamours and him competing against Gary Toonen was to, get money because he stopped paying the competitors. So that was the only way he could make that happen. So I think this kind of a cash and grab situation.
Sure.
I don't see it being a long investment. He has the Gracie name. I think that's what Bellator's going after. He doesn't, he's not a fighter. He fought years ago, when it was back, in black and white, basically. In Japan.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since 2010, and he fought Sakuraba.
Yes, and so
Sakuraba. How did he do against Sakuraba?
he beat him.
Yep. Sakuraba's
50-year-old Sakuraba.
Yeah.
6 years old and has about
Yeah.
enough mileage to last 20 fighter lifetimes.
So
Still
I
a good win.
Yeah, still a good win, no matter who it is. So I think it's just it's for cash and to try to settle this Metamours debt and people that he owes money to. But that is the wrong reason to get into that cage, man. It just is. And then the big thing for me is things are bad when your two brothers, Henner and Hiron, send out a mass email to their contacts going, we don't associate with him anymore.
Right.
Don't do any business with Hal Gracie. He's burned every bridge. He's using our name.
Jesus.
We've worked way too hard for this. Please don't do business with him.
When did that happen?
A while ago. When I say a while ago, I mean like 8 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
So
I think, yeah.
That was basically yesterday.
Brian, you didn't hear about that?
I did not hear about
Yeah,
that.
they came out. They sent out an email. They even went public with it, and it really wasn't a scorn email as much as a matter of fact.
It's supposed to be a private
look,
email.
Yeah, he had done some bad business, and we don't want to be associated with it. We do good. I mean, it was real matter of fact, and you could tell it was hard for them on their own brother. I mean, I would have to think it makes Thanksgiving a little bit awkward, but at some point they just kind of went, look, just so everybody knows, just so we're clear on this. Those aren't our promises; those were his.
Yeah, and
there's
so
a history there, yeah.
Henner is one of the best businessmen that I know, and just happens to be one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners on planet Earth too. And they've built this business, especially the Gracie University Online, and their academy in Torrance is enormous, and they're known for their reputation. Then you have Halleck come in this situation with Metamours, where they kind of spawned for a little bit. But once you stop paying guys, you start doing shady deals, and there's some credit card fraud, and then you're not paying the competitors. Then it's just a bad name on jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And then this is where Halleck, he just needs to drop the ego and just needs help, because someone's like, hey man, you're just taking these fights to pay debt and stuff like that. And with Metamoris, you just need to stop. You know, you're not doing jiu-jitsu a service. And he responded back, and he definitely shouldn't be on social media. And goes, Metamoris isn't around to pay anyone's debts. It's to put on the best jiu-jitsu competitions in the world. That's it. And the guy's like, yeah, but you're promising these guys money. You're not paying them. That's a huge issue. He's like, that's not what we're in this business for.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man. I mean, we're both two guys that compete in Metamoris.
Right.
Yeah.
If you
I get paid.
Yeah, if you give your word, you got to pay. And I thought that was his mistake. I'm an intent guy more than what actually happens. I don't think he intended to screw anybody. I thought he was going to do better. I think he thought he was going to do better business than he did. And at the end of the day, he didn't have the investment back, and he didn't have he came up short.
Yeah.
And that would have been the great time to just come clean and go, this was a business move. It did not work. I am now bankrupt. Thank you all. Instead, he tried to move on and just hustle the next group of guys. And that's where it became really tough.
That's a lack of experience.
Goes back to what you were saying. The cover-up's worse than crime.
The cover-up's worse than the crime. If he would have just come clean and gone, guys, this fell on our face. I'm out everything. And by the way, I'm not paying any of my bills. I want you to hear it from me. It all would have been forgiven.
I agree.
Yeah, and Babalu even came out and said that. Babalu comes out and goes, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I used to pay to do jiu-jitsu. I would pay to enter tournaments. I have no problem. I'll do jiu-jitsu for free. But the problem is you said you'd pay me. So now you have to pay me. Or you're a dirtbag. And that's Babalu that's a very fair point. It's hard to argue around. Right. And yeah, that was Halleck's problem. I did business with him. I would go back. I had a great time at Metamoris. I had a great time watching you and Cyborg. I remember I was the only one cheering for you in the whole building.
Yeah, you were.
I was sitting in the front. Yeah, but I loved it. I loved your style and your strategy. And I was even saying, hey, if you guys don't like what he's doing, change the rules. But he's following the rules right now, and he came in with a strategy, and that's what's got you all upset. Yeah. Brendan showed up with a strategy. I would do business with Halleck again, but I understand why other people want it.
Yeah.
How long has it been since Bryan asked someone to suck his?
I know it's been 25
because that's breaking news. That's breaking news.
Well, I have a heart on though. That's what's weird. That's what's awkward.
Current event. Bryan's still hard, but he hasn't said anything about sucking dicks in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you got here?
All right. What we got here is Michael Bisping saying he verbally agreed to fight GSP at UFC 206. He was actually offered the contract. This isn't just like a verbal kind of deal. He was offered a contract. Bisping verbally agreed. He didn't sign it, but he verbally agreed to it. And GSP is not down for it. From what I hear, he was offered quite a hefty sum.
Hold on. So GSP was offered a hefty sum?
Yes, to fight Bisping. And
okay.
I guess him and Dana couldn't come to terms. GSP already sent a video out earlier, like a message to Bisping saying, okay, me and Dana couldn't come to terms. Couldn't come to the terms we wanted. So it's not going to happen.
And what's your take on that, Joe? Because I saw Bisping tweet out, come on, be a hero in your hometown. We all want extra money, but just take the fight. That's my problem with the sport. That's how things will never change. Because you got a guy in GSP who, let's be honest, doesn't need more fame. Probably goes down as the greatest fighter on the planet right now. Doesn't need money, doesn't need fame. He's like, no, man, you pay me for what I'm worth. I had Under Armour pay me this much money. You want me to wear this bullshit Reebok now and fight for that? I'm not going to do that. You want me to honor my old contract? When I signed that contract, there was no Reebok deal. We didn't have all this stuff going on. So you're talking about a different time. And then you got guys like Bisping. I love Bisping. He's going, just take the fight. Well, everyone wants more money. It's like, that's the issue, man. Nothing's ever going to change if GSP signs that fight.
Yeah, so if I can back up just for the listeners, because it's really relevant what you said. GSP's last fight was 15 minutes after my last fight. So I know the time frame. I was co-main event. I passed him in the hallway after getting beat up by Rashad, and he was walking out to defend. So we're at the same time frame. The relevance there, that was in November of 2013. In early 2014 is when Reebok stepped in. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I hope I say this when I don't lose you guys. He had a contract with the UFC. When the Reebok thing came in, there is an addendum that has to be signed. If you amend a contract, it's essentially a new contract. So George has to come back in and go, no, you must honor my contract. You have X amount of days to give me a fight, or you have to pay me anyway. UFC's going, happy to do it, love to have you fight. Need this addendum signed because we got a new deal with Reebok, and we'll go ahead and put you in there. And George, from a legal perspective, has legs to this argument to go, no, I have a contract and I expect it to be honored. So the UFC then gets to come out and go, well, wait, you came out, you verbally froze your contract with this quasi-retirement, so we're going to go to court to figure out, are we actually at our deadline where we owe you a contest, or did you freeze that and we still got some more time and you're not a free agent? So there's actually a legal argument that can only be decided before a judge, which favors the UFC.
Because
Does
he
George
froze
really,
because he froze his contract when he retired.
or at least they can make a claim to that.
Huh,
And if you
that's
make a
interesting.
claim to that, the only person that can decide it isn't lawyers.
He's a judge.
It's a judge. So now you have to get in front of the judge. That could take 10 months. That could take a year. The UFC could move. There's gamesmanship that could happen there, which would side with George to go out and fight. Now, what I personally believe, and I got suckered into this because I'm a George Mark, but I personally believe he has no intention to fight. It took me a long time to get to this. I finally realized he doesn't plan to fight. He's trying to keep his name out there. He's succeeding. He's on shows like this. Everybody's talking about him. And this is how he keeps those sponsorship dollars coming in. That's what I believe is trying to happen, because they tried to put him with Conor. They have offered to put him with Tyron. They offered to put him in there with Lawler. They're now offering to put him in there with Bisping, and he's not doing it.
Yeah, but we don't know the financials.
Sure. Okay, I love the fight. Listen, Conor McGregor comes out. He brings an absolute storm. And what happens is most guys aren't left standing when that hurricane runs through. Nobody's running over Eddie Alvarez. It has never happened. It isn't going to happen. You can beat Eddie, but you're going to need some time and probably the judges, and maybe things don't go that way. Nobody is running over Eddie Alvarez. And if Conor comes out and tries to do it, and I think he needs to try to do it, he's a front runner, much like Vitor, and then just hope nobody's left standing. I just don't think he's got the endurance. And Eddie Alvarez is the real deal. No two ways about it. He's a world champion, but so's Conor.
I just don't, at 55, I talk about this all the time, I just don't see, and I'm the biggest Conor, fanboy in the world. At 55, I just don't see him matching up well with those top five. It's not a fun career for him at 55.
It's never happened before. And, so many fighters have come out and said, you
What
need to
has
strip
never happened?
Conor.
What do you mean?
Where a guy wins 2 belts simultaneously in the UFC. And I want to say this, and I'm switching gears just a tiny bit, but I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated at the stupidity of fighters, and I just can't take it anymore. Fighters are weighing in saying you need to strip Conor McGregor. Now guys are coming out from other divisions that have no standing in the matter. An 85-pounder just came out and said you need to strip Conor McGregor. It's like, guys, do I really need to explain this to you? Part of the storyline of this is that history has a chance to be made. That Conor McGregor has the ability to capture 2 titles simultaneously. To use Trump's point from a marketing angle, if you're the UFC, why would you possibly, through the power of the pen, do away with one of the greatest storylines that you have leading into this contest? Why can you guys not understand it? Now, if you're Dana White and you come out and you reveal that to everybody, it loses its allure. It's like, guys, connect the dots here.
Yeah.
Let him have his moment. Let him hold the 2 belts up. Let that
Amazing.
picture go out there forever, should he be able to do it. And let us have the headlines. There is a trickle-down effect in MMA. I'm over in Bellator. We will feel a trickle-down effect from the Madison Square Garden card.
sure.
They went and got... You will be in New York before,
Yeah.
World Series is going to New York. There's a trickle-down effect. Go ahead and support your racehorse while he's running.
But that racehorse, who's, if he is holding both belts simultaneously, besides Conor, who else would they get behind? Name a big draw. Go.
It's tough right now.
Just give me one, though, Chael. Can you name one?
Yeah, Ronda. I got to go with Ronda. And she's not even fighting. It's not until
She fights
December
end of
30th.
December,
Yeah.
but then you see what she's been going through. How many does she have left?
Sure. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So
And-
you got Conor, your poster boy.
Yeah, and Ronda's big. I don't mean this negative at all. Ronda is not as big as they say she is. Ronda has never done the gates or the pay-per-view sales that Conor does, and they continue to say she's the biggest draw in the industry.
Dana does.
Yes, he does.
And I've
never
a theory
understood
on that. I have a theory on that.
Okay.
If you really want to get into it. So Dana goes, she's the biggest fighter we've ever had in the UFC, blah, blah, blah. I saw that and went, that's not true. Number-wise, it's not true. You can say, oh, well, Schaub's biased. No, let's just look at the numbers. Conor's the biggest fighter you've ever had. Brock Lesnar was huge. Chael Sonnen was huge. Ronda's not huge in that respect. I would assume, Dana's human, so he's going to be biased. Ronda and Dana share the same agent at WME.
Okay.
So there's going to be some biased favoritism when he says
Sure.
that stuff. You know what I'm
Marketing.
saying?
Yeah. I've just never understood. And maybe it comes down to simply as that. Look, there's some backstory and some politics there, and she's a huge star. I'm not questioning Ronda at all. But she is not. Look, she's always been second to Conor since he's been on his run. She never touched Lesnar. Nobody did. That was an anomaly. George St-Pierre did his great numbers. I've always just been a little bit confused. Why are they saying that? Because a lot of this is verifiable. We can verify
Might
the
be
game.
her
That's done
sex,
through
the
State
first
Commission.
woman, the superstar in fighting.
We can look around the building and see what's sold out here or not. I was there when she fought Sarah McMahon, and there were 7,500. It's just the reality. It's just what was sold. There's clicks online and certain things, and she does really good business. But she just
but
wasn't
you know
number
how
one.
market is in social media. If you say it enough times, it becomes true.
It becomes true,
especially
yeah.
when Dana says it.
Yeah.
Because
No,
his
and
word
I
is
know
gold
he's
in the
pushing
UFC.
that.
So he's always pushed on like, that's not true. And then when he goes, she's the best female fighter on the planet. I also have an issue with that because I've seen Cyborg fight, and I see her right now. I'm like, there's not a female on this planet right now who can beat that woman.
That's ever been born. Yeah, and I was late to the Cyborg party, and I'm Team
Dude.
Ronda. I don't want this to sound anti. I just never understood. Yeah,
I was
Were you
crazy
late on it?
late to the Cyborg
Yeah,
party.
I
I
didn't
hated
see
on
it.
that girl for years. And then when she came to the UFC, I'm like, well, she passed the drug testing, and she is starking these girls. Just, I mean, it's like, holy
mean.
balls. I don't know how she, and I'm Team Ronda. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know I'm Team Ronda. I don't see anyone competing with Cyborg.
yeah.
This is my issue with it. If Dana's going to say, oh, Ronda's the best ever, blah, 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 this, and this, and you have this girl Cyborg who is working her ass off, man. God, you want to talk about someone who earned their keep in the UFC, and she's starching all these girls, and there is just no marketing behind that girl.